Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just young downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought.
I can tell you that 7 years after Freddie Gray, that was 2015, spring, April, May. This is 2022. Communities like Sandtown, all we saw then and now in terms of investment was a renovated Western District Police Station and a new funeral home. That's what West Baltimore got. A new police station and a new funeral home. What kind of optics are they? Was Freddie Gray any different than 1968 Baltimore riots? Dr. King's passing, killing, murder? This is the same?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I think, well, first of all, people who are being violent and burning, that's, you know, all that's the same. But the point is what was the cause and what were they attempting to register?
I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
I love you,
They deserve it now. It's
got next. And I'll be up.
It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Now, family, we get to do a lot of interviews. We interview a lot of politicians, business leaders. But this time, we're going to go into the arts. And we have with us a gentleman with 36 movies. 36 to his credit. Is that what I counted?
You counted correctly.
Phenomenal. Dannon Green. Yay!
What's going on, brother?
I'm grateful, man. Big ups to Cynthia. Please, let's give love to our sister from Chicago.
Yes, Miss Cynthia Boykin. Thank you so much, man.
Because I don't want no trouble. Is that your line?
That used to be my line. I still kind of say it every now and then, but that was my catch line when I was doing, when I first started doing comedy, probably for about almost 10 years. Just,
So let me get this right. You were born in Manhattan and raised in Philly.
Yes. Born in Manhattan, New York.
How did that? What happened?
I am a foster child. I was a ward of the state of New York, so I was a ward of the state of New York, and I got adopted at 7, and my mom moved me to Philadelphia, and I lived in Philly until I was 15. Unfortunately, I lost her when I was 15. And then I lived for 2 years with my adopted brother, and then pretty much been on my own since 17 years of age.
Well, you ain't in your 20s.
Nah, so it was a while ago, but I did all right.
Yes, you did. Cynthia told me about some time she spent in New York.
Mm-hmm.
We had on the show, she was talking about this girl's home that she stayed at.
Okay. Yes, she did tell me about that. Yes.
And I mean, traumatic things, man. People don't, sometimes we don't think about the difficult situations that others have come through.
Yes.
And your spirit is strong, man.
Yeah. Well, I never, Donnie, man, I always felt I was always mature past my years, always, bro. And I used to always say, at the end of the day, people don't care about what you've been through, especially if you go the other way. They may, oh, it's sad, sad or whatever, but at the end of the day, they don't really care. And I'm a big history buff, and when I was younger, I was a big, and I still am a news watcher. I'm very observant about what goes on in the world. And I used to, back in the day, I would be in Philly and I'd be watching Channel 6 or Channel 10 or Channel 2, and they would be, you would always see the trial. There'd be like a criminal trial going on at some time. You know how they do it. They show something that might have happened. And I always used to say that you would see the lawyer explain that his client, grew up in a broken home, was abused and all that type of stuff. And the judge would go, yeah, I understand that. Now he still got to he got to give me these 25 years, but I'm sorry that this happened to him. You know what I mean? So I always, at the end, nobody really, at the end, really nobody really cares about your past if you go the negative route. They feel bad for you, but so I had to make a decision on which way I'm going to take my life. And so when I was on my own at 17 years of age, I just said I got to do it.
How you on your own at 17? What happened to 18?
Well, what happened was my brother, God rest his soul, he was taking care of me from 15 to 17, and Mike was from Philly, and but we was living in Maryland, and Mike was a hustler. You know what I'm saying? Mike, very smart, but he was a hustler and stuff like that. Well, anyway, I came home one day from school. I was going to Eleanor Roosevelt, and I was actually on the Eleanor Roosevelt in Greenbelt, Maryland. And
down in PG County.
Yeah, PG County, yeah. And I came home one day and there was a U-Haul truck parked outside, and I thought we was moving again, because I moved from Philly to New Hampshire to Maryland after my mom died with him. And I said, where are we moving to? And he was like, we ain't moving anywhere. I'm moving back to Philly. And I was like, what about me? Like, you staying here? Because I was in my last year of high school. So my last year of high school, from February on, I was by myself.
Where you get money from?
I was a track dude. I've always been an athlete. I was a track dude. He said he was going to pay the rent up for a few months. That didn't really happen, but I was living there for about 2 or 3 months. And I wound up quitting track, and I got a job as a dishwasher at a restaurant. And I never
year of high school?
Yeah, I never told a teacher. I never told anybody. I just stayed on. It's a crazy story, bro, but I never told anyone. And only a couple of my partners at school knew. And I got up every morning, went to school, and I status quo, 17. Yeah. Sometimes I can't believe it. Sometimes I can't believe I did it, but I did it.
Did you graduate?
I graduated.
You graduated?
Yeah, let me put it this way. I graduated. I applied to colleges on my own. I got accepted to a school in Iowa, and because I made a promise, I said the first school that accepts me, that's where I'm going, because I didn't have anywhere else to go, and I wasn't going to go into the military. Because that's what my other family members like trying to say. Well, maybe you should go into the military. I was like, it made me mad, but I felt like they was trying to push me off. And then, so what happened was, I got accepted.
Why you ain't want to go in the military though?
Because I'm not getting up in the morning to do no running and all that, and I couldn't. And even though I can fight, I would say I can't kill nobody in cold blood. You know what I mean? And I knew that if I got in the military, that would be something I have to do. Now I can kill you if you do something to me, but I just can't kill you off a GP. You know what I mean?
I didn't go in the military for similar reasons. I didn't want some bad breath sergeant in my face telling me to go take that hill while he pointing.
Right.
And I'm gonna ask, well, where you gonna be? Where we gonna be?
Yeah.
I rejected that notion too. They were my dad brought me an application to the Naval Academy. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't fit into my spirit. I took the military test while I was in high school one time, and I graded high in history. They said I would probably be a historian. So I could have probably been that kind of person where, a leader or general or something like that. But that's not where you wanted to make lemonade out of lemons.
Right. So my last year in high school, I graduated. I applied to colleges on my own. I was living on my own. My brother had left a checkbook. I took stolen checks and I applied to 5 schools. True story. Because you had to pay for your application to be processed. Remember that back in the day?
$35.
Yeah, 25. Yep. And then I wind up getting accepted to a school in Davenport, Iowa, and
in
I
Iowa, don't get no non-blacker than that.
Hey, I tell people it was only 2 blacks in the state when I got there. That's my joke. Me and the brother who thought he was in Chicago. You know what I mean? So, and so applied to school, and man, wind up getting accepted. Went to school 4 years, did well. Applied to graduate school, got accepted to grad school. I went to The Ohio State University. I got my master's degree. And
you can't do that. Come on, say it one more time.
I got my master's degree from Ohio State University. Ohio State University.
Wow, you look like one of them football players now.
Yeah. And you know what, bro? I never look back. You know what I'm saying? I never look back. It was tough. It was a tough time. I had a very tough time after my mom passed. My whole life has been tough emotionally, and because I had to navigate through it. But at the end of the day, I just never believed in pointing fingers at people.
Did you connect with your family?
I haven't yet. Oh, you mean my adopted family?
Blood.
No, I've never met anyone in my blood family. Never have. So, and they say I have a brother who's 18 months older than me, but my paternal mother died when I was less than 2. So that's why I was awarded the state, because she was sick off and on. So they made me award of New York. Yeah. Yeah, I got a story, brother.
When you went back to New York, how did that feel? I'm gonna tell you the craziest thing, man.
Last year, it was real emotional when I went back to New York to screen this movie, because I made it into the Manhattan Film Festival. And so for me to, I told the audience, for me to, to be awarded the state, to be a foster kid of the state, and to be able to come back and screen the movie, it was just, it was just surreal. You know what I mean? It was crazy. Mm-hmm.
Have you written any books?
No books yet. That's probably going to be my next project. I got the documentary done. I have which we'll talk about. And I'm a screenwriter. So I've written 5 screenplays. I currently have a movie that I wrote I just got optioned and got a producer and a director attached. So my goal right now is to get that movie done. But after this event here, I made a promise that I'm going to start sitting down and write my life story. Yeah, because I think it's a story that people really need to know about. And I couldn't write it for a long time. I tried to, but it got too emotional. You know what I mean? I would start writing, and I'd just be crying and stuff, like I can't, I couldn't deal with it. You know what I mean? But now I'm past that, and I still get emotional, but I can get past that and write it. I never shied away from my story, but when you go through stuff like I went through, what's the word I want to say? You don't hide it, but you kind of keep it suppressed, because again, I don't believe in I don't believe in blaming people for what kind of life I've had. You know what I mean?
Well, let me just tell you, Dan, I met a lot of people. A lot of people use that, and it hurts them, and they use it as one sympathy, to one empathy. I mean, it's almost like the pretty girl with the car broke down stereotype.
Right.
Oh, will you help me? Will you help me? I'm the victim.
Yeah.
When I wrote my autobiography, I got a chance to go back and remember things that I had forgotten. Wow. And they weren't all bad memories. It's a lot of a lot of good. That the fact that we still here, me,
Right.
was more good than bad.
Right.
And you're in your right mind, and you know people like Cynthia, and you just produce your. Is this your first film?
My first feature film. I did a short film before. I did a 15-minute film, a 20-minute film before, but this is my first feature film.
Okay, well, tell us about your film, and congratulations
Thank you,
for just surviving, thriving, not being a victim, being a victor. I ain't even hear you mention any church. I guess the church is in you, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, I like to joke and tell people I got saved twice. Now I don't do everything right, but I've been involved in church most of my life. But I said I got saved at 18. I met a girl in college. You know how it is. You're chasing the girls. Come to church with me. Go to church, and I wound up joining the church. I got saved the first time. I like to say baptized the first time under the Pentecostal religion, and then I did that for the first year and a half in college. Then I went back wild and out. And then when I moved to California, I met another girl, and she was going to church, got with her. And so I'm a member of Faithful Central Baptist Bible Church, which is a big church in LA. And I don't go that much no more, but I'm I don't like to say spiritual. I'm a very God-fearing dude. Even though I know I don't do everything right, I still, I know, you know what I mean?
You have a conscience.
Well, that's the only reason I'm gonna be honest with you, Donnie. That's the only reason I didn't become a drug dealer, because my brother was a drug dealer. But my conscience, again, I knew the game of life, and I knew if you get into that game, one, you're always gonna have to watch your back, but two, you're going to have to take somebody out at one time, and I didn't want that. You're going to, because somebody's going to try to take you, somebody's going to try to burn you, and you're going to have to get them. It's just no ifs or buts about it. You can't, whether you take them out completely or you shoot them. I didn't want that on my conscience.
My father was a funeral director, Dannon.
Oh, your father was?
I grew up above a funeral home until I was about 9.
Oh, funeral director.
Yeah, we lived above. He and my mom owned the funeral home downstairs.
Okay.
And every time I saw a body on the slab, young, old, black, white, male, female, one lesson always stuck with me. Dead is dead. It ain't no I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Dead is dead.
Right. It's dead is dead, brother.
And that's why, thank God, I have not killed anybody.
Right. And
because that's the mean
I
thing
just feel like
it'll wake you up in the middle of the night.
Wow. Yeah, I just felt that was my reason. That was my reason for not getting into it. But I went to Ohio State. I got into the entertainment. I first started doing stand-up out there, moved to LA.
Then Ohio State, that was grad school?
Yes, graduate school, 1988 to 1990. But I lived in Columbus from 88 to 92.
So how is Ohio compared to your East Coast experiences?
I really liked Ohio. I think if I wasn't in entertainment, I would have stayed in Columbus because I got to know Columbus. But as I got into entertainment, I felt like I was becoming too big for the city. Like the city wasn't big enough for me. You know what I mean? Like it was just, so I left. But I had a good rapport.
You were right.
I liked Ohio actually.
But you were right.
Yeah.
For your career, for expansion and growth, you needed a bigger flower pot.
Yeah, especially back then because we didn't have social media. You know what I mean? We didn't have social media. We didn't have cell phones. So it's not like I could they're doing today. You know what I mean? People don't understand. If you don't want to come to Cali, you can be on home, in the middle of, a shack and make videos all day. And all of a sudden people think you're a star. But anyway, that's why I moved to Cali. But I got.
How was Cali?
Cali's cool. I have a saying, and I think when you have had the life I've had, I went to 4 high schools in 3 different states. I moved a lot. I have a saying where I hate when people, I don't hate when people, because everybody has the right to say what they say, but when people say, oh man, I need to move, I always say, how's Cali, or how's this, gas is high, it's crazy, but it is. I always say this to people, you got to live somewhere. So either way, you know what I mean? You got, unless you don't plan on living here in the States. So something's gonna be wrong somewhere. So You know, I definitely have no problem with California. California's been good to me. The people have been cool with me. You know, and you know when I would say when you're a true East Coast person,
See, this is
you know
what
how
I
to
want
maneuver.
to hear.
Yeah, you know how to maneuver around. You know what I'm saying?
East Coast. So is that almost an advantage that you have an East Coast person has on the West Coast?
When I feel for me, because trust and believe me, when you hear about a lot of people being fake and phony and all that in California, a lot of those people come from other parts of the country, and they're the ones that are the fake because they get caught up. Because LA people actually, man, LA people are down. They're down to earth. And when you go down to South Central and all them boys, they about that life down there. You know, what you hear is what's really going on. And so LA people are grounded, but in LA people respect the game. But a lot of people that become phony are people that not even from LA. They move to LA, they move to Hollywood and get caught up in everything. And that was one of the reasons that I moved to California, because when I was started stand-up in Ohio, there was a comedian, Rich Scheidner, this white comic, who was you might have met. He played in the movie Roxanne years ago with Steve Martin and all that. I met him at a comedy club, and I was talking to him throughout the whole week. He was in Columbus, and this is a true story, Donnie. He said to me, he said, man, how old are you? Right, white man says it. I said, I'm 26. So we was talking all week about, you know, comedy and, you know, because I'm trying to like figure it out. And he goes, how old are you? And I go, I'm 26. He goes, you need to move to LA. And I said, why do you say that? And he said, you seem mature enough not to go get caught up in the lights. He said, you should move to LA. And that was the reason that I moved to LA. Because he was like, you know, my late brother was living, the one that we had separated. We wound up connecting. He was living in Long Beach. So it was an easy move for me. You know what I mean? It just happened to work out like that.
You reconnected?
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was crazy. We talked, and he was like, you know, his exact line was, man, you did everything you were supposed to do, man. So, you know, we got to try to help you out. So, you know, and I was job hunting. He said, so if you want, you come out and live with me. So I moved out to LA with him in March of 1992. And then by August 2nd of 92, we've been having another fallout, and I was homeless for 2 months again. So, you know, I didn't learn my lesson the first time, but, you know, I got it now.
Maya Angelou, when they show you who they are
who they are. Yeah. But I came out to LA, got into the game. I built my rep as a stand-up comic. A lot of people know me from Comic View and all those TV shows. And then I started writing in 99. And I was in a workshop. I was in this big boot camp workshop with Bill Duke, the director, and he was in there with Taraji Henson, Anthony Anderson, Chris Spencer, Shamar Moore, Lisa Ray. We all were in the same big acting workshop class. And Bill Duke encouraged us to write. And that's when I started writing screenplays. And
why did he encourage you to write? Who is Bill Duke? I don't know.
Okay, Bill Duke is one of our greatest Black actors, Black directors, and Black socialist person that, community, person that really wants to help the community. You know what I mean? He's very pro-Black from New York.
Socialist?
No, I don't want to say, I said the wrong word. He's not a socialist. What I want to say, that's not because he's not a socialist. Activist. Thank you. Okay. Activist. I apologize.
Because as you mentioned, socialists, who came to mind was Paul Robeson.
Yeah. No, he's not a socialist. Yeah, because Paul Robeson went over to Russia. Yeah, I know his story too. Yeah, but no, he was he's a big activist, but he's very pro-Black, and he's very pro trying to help Black entertainers and people to get together. So the first time we were in his class, we were always in it. Like I said, I'm talking about heavy hitters was in there. Like I said, everybody was in there, and it was about 25 of us. And he asked each and every one of us, "Hey, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do?" And we were all saying different things. I'm a comedian. I'm a writer. I'm a director. We're young, and everybody's saying what they do. And he said, "See, the difference between you and me is that I'm an entrepreneur. I'm all of those things." He said, for you to make it out here, you have to own intellectual properties. And so he said, and he encouraged us to write. He said, because you don't want to be 55 still auditioning for work. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And that's when I started writing. So I've written 5 films.
You ain't I ain't gonna let you out of that. I need you. We got some people who may be right there.
Right.
You are laying the framework for success in life.
Yes.
You go out there and we think it's about getting some auditions. But you said Bill Duke encouraged you to write, and I'm a writer.
Right.
Journalism, news. But even in journalism, there are not a lot of Black writers.
No.
And that's why my job never ends, because I'm trying to counter. I don't know if you know the film D.W. Griffith, The Birth of a Nation, the first feature film in America about 1917.
No, but I heard about it.
It put out the worst stereotypes
of Black. Yes, I remember that. Yes.
They showed it at the White House. They showed people from other countries, this is how we treat them. And so when you get a Paul Robeson, when you get a Sidney Poitier, when you get I'm sure you've heard of Oscar Micheaux. Oscar Micheaux he was like the first Black film producer. He had 44 films, Oscar Micheaux. When you have these people breaking down barriers, it opens the door decades later for a Spike Lee, for Regina King.
Yes.
For our generation.
Yeah.
And then you have to open doors for people coming 30 years behind you.
Yeah. It's it was something that I just knew, and you gotta remember, Donnie, my background always told me, I would say the disadvantage of my background but also worked to my advantage was I'm always in survival mode. Because when you are raised by yourself, you know what I mean? You know that decisions that you make, when you make them, you don't have someone saying, you shouldn't do that. See, and I haven't had nobody really tell me what I shouldn't do since the age of 17. You know what I mean? I've had people suggest, but I could do whatever I wanted to do. And so when you have that freedom, it also can be tough on you because you don't know if you're making the right decisions or not. But you gotta make that decision. You gotta stick to it and do that game plan.
I ain't no holy roller, but in 20 years of doing this news operation, Be More News, Black USA, in 20 years, it was less than 4 or 5 times that I said, to hell with this, I'm gonna go get a job.
Right.
In 20 years, maybe 4 times. And when the thought came, I swear to you, Dannon, I would get a knock at the door.
Right.
Or I get a phone call. And they said these words, the money will come.
Right. Right.
That's what don't worry about it. I sent you. It's like God give you the vision, he'll give you the provision.
Right. Well, there was times that I was in this game where, I had some bad shows or things like that. And I felt like maybe I shouldn't do this. But, when I was in track, I had a partial scholarship I could have gotten in track, but I never pushed it because of me having to quit. When I was fighting, I was a 2-time Golden Gloves champ. I could have went pro, but I didn't go pro.
You done left all of that out.
Well, that's part of the documentary story. So we can, that's why I did this documentary. So
what's the name of the documentary?
The documentary is called The Executioners. We All Had a Chance. And it's a story about about a gym I used to belong to out of Philadelphia that I joined in 1979, 1980 as a kid in Philadelphia. And I joined it and I boxed it for 2 years.
Were you like 14?
Huh?
You were 14?
I was 14 when I first started. And
why you joined the gym?
Huh?
Why you joined the gym?
Because I had 2 buddies.
You took a couple L's in the street.
Actually, I never took an L in the street. I got sucker punched one time when I was 12, 13 by an old head. One time I had an argument on the basketball court, argue about that it was my game next. And the dude sucker punched me. But my cousin was there. My cousin Frank Brown was there. So my cousin fought the dude. But the dude didn't drop me. You know what I mean? I was shocked. I was like, oh, but everybody saw it. But by that time, my cousin Frank came by and was like, yo. So that's what happened. But I never took an L in the street. I can say that. I had 3 fights in the
gym.
Huh?
How you end up in the gym?
Because I had 2 friends. One of my friends actually just passed, God rest his soul. But 2 of my buddies that I used to hang with in elementary school through junior high school, we used to always slap box. You know how we do that. And these dudes was always tagging me. And I was like, man, how these I'm just didn't like how these dudes. And I was taller than them. So anyway, I'm walking down Lansdowne Avenue in Philadelphia, and they're coming catty corner. So we meet at the corner one day. This is no lie, after school. And they got bags. I was going to the store. And and they lived on 61st Street, and I lived on Felton Street. So they lived like 4 blocks away. You know how the streets are in Philly. So I go, yo, what's up, y'all? Yo, what's up, Dan? I said, where y'all going? They said, we're going to the gym. I said, what gym y'all going to? What kind of gym? He said, we going to the boxing gym. I said, y'all box? They said, oh yeah, we box. I was like, why y'all ain't never tell me? But when you kids back then, we had cell phones. You don't share stuff. You go to school with people, and that's it. Your life at home is your life at home. You know how your mom would say, what happens in the house stays in the house. So I guess they was like, we just never talked about it. Man, I ran home.
Explain how they were really good. They were
more
fast.
technical, yeah. So I tell you, I ran home. I said to my mom, I want to box. Can I box? And she was like, nope. I said, please. I said, nope. She said, nope. I said, and then I lied. I said, I've been having troubles in the street. She said, I don't care. You can't box. So I was like, all right. So then she came back 2 days later and said, all right, you can box, but I hope you get hurt. I was like, that didn't make sense. You know what I mean? And that's how I got involved in boxing. Yes. Encouraging words from your mother. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's the best joke.
Man. So I wind up joining the gym, and then they wind up quitting. They quit, and I stayed the longest, and I became the best out of all of us.
Hey, Dan, and the spirit led you to that boxing gym for whatever reason. The spirit led you there.
Yeah. And
wow.
So I started boxing, came in second in the city in 81 in Junior Olympics. I lost in the championship fight to go to the regionals. And then my mom died. And then I had 6-7 years. I didn't do anything. I was going to school, I was moving a lot, but I was always, anywhere I moved, I would try to box, but I never fought. So what happened was in 1987, when I'm living in Iowa, I went to school in Davenport, Iowa. I was boxing out of a gym. I started just going there to train, and I was, get in shape. So I was training, and that was the same gym that Michael Nunn is from. Michael's second to none. So I'm at the gym one day, and then one day we got all these camera people in there. And what happened was Michael Nunn was coming back to Iowa for a fight. He was coming back 3 fights before he fought for the world championship, before he knocked out Frank Tate. So he was coming back for a fight, and he did all his heavy sparring in California. So Jim is there. He's in town doing. I didn't even know it. So the owner of the gym comes to me and goes, when Michael was southpaw, he was fighting a left-hander, and I'm southpaw. So they were like, "Hey, Green, you want to spar Nunn?" I was like, it was a Latin, a Mexican boy named Alvino Pena, real cool, crazy dude. So I go, like the gym is packed with news people and everything. I'm like, and people, I go, yeah, it's just like you would see at a Mayweather thing before a fight, like that type of stuff. So I go, yeah. So I sparred Michael Nunn for 3 days, and I did really well. And people were shocked. They were like, because, I hadn't been involved in boxing because my mom died and I moved. But they was like, oh, this dude, you can go. So I said, you know what, maybe I should get back into it, because I kept saying, I'm not going to fight nobody in the amateurs as good as this dude. I'm not going to fight anybody as good as this guy. And I went 3 days with him. So I got my head refocused, and I joined the gym, and I ran off 13 straight wins, and 2 Golden Glove tournaments. I won them.
What stopped you from going pro?
So funny story is, I'm getting my master's from Ohio State I had just graduated. I get invited to Ray Leonard's gym in Palmer Park, Maryland. So I'm down in Ray's gym because they were looking for some fighters, and my boy told them about me. So they're like, okay, we'll take a look at him. So I drive from Ohio down to Palmer Park. And you remember, my aunt and uncle were living in Maryland. So that was my connection of having somewhere to stay after, because I was on my own. So I go down to the Palmer Park, Maryland, and I sparred 2 of Ray's sparring partners. And man, the first day they put me through it. They was bad. They're not gonna let nobody come in there off the street. You sparring the top dudes. So for the first day they was on me, and I was nervous, and I had an amateur style, just trying to just throw punches, you know what I mean? Like, and pro style is more laid back. They like, we gonna be here all day, you know what I mean? Amateurs, you figure you only got 3 rounds. Pros are like, our goal is, when we don't get you in 3 rounds, we'll get you in the 10th. Well, we're gonna get you. So my thing was, I was, doing a lot of fast sparring, and this dude I was sparring, he was just really laid back. And he saw an opening. He cracked me with a right hand. I went back. I didn't fall because I've always had a good chin. He was 165 pounds. His name was Bird. Both of them was 165. I was weighing 47, 52. So my uncle was joking. He said, I was taking pictures of you too. He hit you with that right hand. I was like, okay. So what happened was, that night I went home, him and I strategized, like, what did you do wrong? We talked about it and all that. And I was rushing and all that. So the next day I came back, I slowed it down, and I did way better. So my uncle went to Pepe Guerrero and another trainer and said, what do you think about him? They said, we like him. He said, we like him, but we can't do nothing with him right now because Ray Leonard's coming in for his last fight against Terry Norris. So what happened was, I wound up going back to Ohio, and I started thinking, I'm saying to myself, you know what? I just spent 6 years in college. Education really ain't that bad to have. You know what I mean? So I said, nah, I ain't gonna go pro. But I kind of regret not going pro a little bit, because I was told that they told me I'd have been a way better pro than amateur, because I already came from that pro background.
But there's another side to it too.
Yeah.
You could get hurt.
Yeah. And hey, I already talk with a slight list when I get excited, so I ain't need to have no bad speech, no more added to what I got going on already. So yeah.
Dannon, I met a boxer once, and he was more than a boxer. He had no bodyguards. Probably had a pretty lady with him. His name was Muhammad Ali. He came to the college right here in Baltimore, in the middle of the city, Coppin State. But what I'll never, ever, 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 ever forget, that man stayed and talked to everyone. He shook everybody's hands.
Yeah, I should let me tell you my great Muhammad Ali story. So 19, I'm fighting in the Golden Gloves in Huntington, West Virginia. My first fight. This is the same year that Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. So Douglas was from Columbus. So at the Golden Gloves, Ali and Buster Douglas were there. And for $10, you could take 2 pictures. You could take a picture with both of them. You know what I mean? So I'm in line. I pay my $10. I'm in line to take pictures. And as I get about 5 or 6 people before I get ready to take my picture, my trainer, Vonzel Johnson, comes to me. He goes, hey, Green, you got to go get laced. You got to go get ready, man. You fight in 2 fights. So I want you to go back to the locker room and get dressed up and all that so I can wrap you. I said, okay. So I go back to the locker room, and I get dressed up, get laced up, and I'm walking to the ring, right? I'm walking to the ring.
What about your picture?
Huh?
What about your picture?
I'm going to tell you this story. So I'm walking to the ring, and when I look up, Douglas already had left, and Muhammad Ali was leaving. So I stopped right there. I go, hey, hold up. He said, what's wrong? To my trainer, we're ready to get in the ring. I said, I paid $10 to take a picture with him. And he said, you got to fight. And I was like, I don't care. I paid $10 to get a picture with him. So my trainer yells over to
my man.
Yells over to Ali's people and goes, hey, the kid said he paid to take a picture with Ali. So his handlers look at him and go, oh yeah, he paid. And Ali walked over to me, and took a picture with me. And I don't know if I'm trying to find the picture on right now on my phone.
But that's the kind of person he was.
Yes.
And so when I meet people, whether they're boxing or politics, and they don't have that kind of humility, then they're not great.
Right.
I just seen people at the White House. They supposed to be famous, but they don't even want to open their mouth.
Yeah, Ali was. So let me tell you the other part of that story. So I take the picture with Ali. So after my fight, I'm going back to the hotel. I get on the elevator. God is my witness. I cannot make this up. I get on the elevator, and Ali and his handler get on the elevator with me. It's me, Muhammad Ali, and his handler. So I go. I don't. Let me see. So I go. I said, I don't know if you can see this picture, but this is the picture right here.
I'm gonna take me off the screen. Hold tight.
That's the picture right there. That was right before I was walking to the ring.
That's the classic, man.
So let me tell you this story. So I'm on the elevator with Ali, and I go, excuse me, Mr. I said, excuse me, I didn't say Mr. Ali. I said, excuse me, Mr. Muhammad, but can I get an autograph? And he said, yeah, you can get one. And then but I didn't have no paper. I mean, I got boxing gear on me. So I pull out a dollar bill. He signs my dollar bill, right? So I'm like, I'm cherishing this dollar bill. So when I get back to Columbus at my house, I take the dollar bill and I don't know where to put it. So I hide it in one of those old record player, things. And when I moved out of Columbus, I got the dollar there. I was like, man. So
the experience though, he took time. I mean, twice.
Okay, so I got one more for you. So here's the third. So I moved to LA. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm doing my thing. And my buddy becomes this brother named Yahya, Johnny McClain. Yahya was the gentleman that was married to Layla Ali. He was the one that pushed Layla through all of her boxing career. He was the one you used to see in the ring with the nice brim. The women used to go crazy for him. You know what I mean? Like, oh, who's that? And that was Layla's husband. Him and I became best friends. We're still good friends to this day. So he comes by my house one day in LA, and he sees this picture. And he goes, Dannon, that's a fat picture. I said, thanks, man. I said, yeah. You think you can get Ali to sign it? He said, give me the picture. Took the picture. Ali signed it right there. That's his signature on the picture. If you can see it.
I see it.
Yeah. So that's my famous Muhammad Ali story. But anyway, I got into the boxing game. And let me just tell you, I know we're going to get short on time. But so what happened was in 2017, I went back to Philadelphia to do a comedy show. And I ran into one of my old boxing teammates from the gym. And I said, hey, he told me about the trainers. I was asking about people, and one of the trainers had died, and the other trainer, Frank Taylor, was still alive. So I said, can you have a number? So I got a number on Frank. That was in August of 2017. So in October, I wind up calling him. I said, let me call Frank. I said, let me see how he's doing. So I called him, and this is what happened. So I called him, and he said, the voice said, hello. And I ain't seen this man in 40 years, bro. Like since I left Philly. And I go, is this Frank? I said, is Frank Taylor there? He goes, this is Frank Taylor. And I go, Frank, how you doing? This is Dannon Green. I used to box for you when I was a kid. And he goes, Dannon Green, Felton Street, Southpaw, good fighter. Yeah, I remember you. And man, it almost made me cry. Because I was like, this man remembered everything about me, where I lived, and I left. Because everybody was sad when I moved out of Philly when my mom died. Like, nobody wanted me to move. Like, everybody liked me. And it was just a sad time for me. And he remembered me. And then, so we talked for like about 20 minutes, 25. And then I said to him, I said, Frank, let me do the story about the executioners. Because I thought it was a story there. And he said something to me. He said, man, I always felt there was a story there. I just didn't know how to get it out. And I said, let me do it. So I just I found a business partner to go in with me. I was doing well in commercials, so I had money, and I took my money, my business partner. We went together. I went back to Philly 4 times over the next year. Did interviews, North Carolina, New York. I got Mark Breland, Buddy McGirt, Shang Mosley, Malik Scott. I got
you met Mark Breland in your amateur
documentary. Yes. I got and everybody's related to the story. I got
Mark Breland was in your story.
He's in the movie, yes, because he knew about one of the fighters.
Now he's a southpaw.
No, Breland was an orthodox fighter, right-handed.
But he's from Brooklyn.
Yep.
We remember Mark Breland.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So that's what happened. And Breland's in the documentary. And then I wound up getting Sean O'Grady, the great light heavyweight we had back in the day. And then I got Bernard Hopkins in it.
You got Hop?
B. Hop is in it. It's a great story, bro. It's a great story. It's about it's about these 2 men who started this gym in Philly to get the boys off the street and wound up creating one of the best amateur boxing teams the country ever saw.
You know, Baltimore. I'm in Baltimore. We got a little boxing history here.
I like your boy, Giovanni Davis. I like him. He's a good dude. I like him. He can go.
He's southpaw.
Yeah, he can go. Yep. So it's a great story, man. I hope you can make it up for the screening, bro. And
when and where?
So the screening is going to take place. I'm gonna send you the link, and maybe you can put the link up on your page. But it's going to be at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, downtown Philadelphia. From 4:00 in the afternoon to 8 p.m.
When?
You got a 4-hour window on October 22nd, next Saturday, the Saturday before this last. The 22nd of October.
So I want to share something with you. We created these Black Wall Street plaques.
Okay.
About 11 years ago. We've given away over 1,900. So in Baltimore, New York became our go-to, DC, Atlanta. We never done an awards in Philly.
Right.
Maybe I gotta come just to find the spot where we're gonna do our first awards in Philly.
Man, we'd love to have you, brother. It'd mean everything to me. You
Next
know what I'm
Saturday,
saying?
the 22nd.
The 22nd, from 4:00 to 8. You come up, brother. You got your ticket. Don't even worry about it. Just come on through.
4:00 on Philly. Where's it gonna be?
At the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, 120 North Broad Street. And if you want to buy tickets, you can go to the link, Eventbrite. What I can do is, I'll send you the link. And I don't know how you edit your show or whatever. I'll send you the link right off to this phone number you gave me. And then I'd love for you people to come or whatever. But it's gonna be good.
Yeah, your girl from Chicago. Tell me about Cynthia Boykin.
Well, I met Cynthia Boykin in 2007 or 8, I believe it was. I was doing a comedy show in Chicago for Damon Williams, and she was at the show. And I saw her, and I was like, okay, she's kind of cute. And, I tried to holler, and she didn't break down, but we became best of friends. And that's our story. So, because she was actually, it's funny when you meet people, you think you're trying to talk to them, but she was so professional. And then I knew that she had a lot, after speaking with her, she had so much going on. I said, it's better to have her as an ally. So, and she's been a very big help to me over the years.
That sounds like a grown man.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of times we may see this, and like you say, we miss the entire blessing. I've learned in business, somebody like Cynthia Boykin be the best thing to happen to you in business.
Best thing that ever happened. And she came out to I screened this documentary last year, and she was in town, and she in Los Angeles last year at Kevin Hart's studio. It was a sold out event, packed, everything. It was great. and red carpet event, and she came to that, and so I told her about this, and she asked me about this, and I didn't even ask her for no help. She connected me with you and said, hey, But I think what happens, Donnie, is when and I like to tell this to your audience, when you do right by people remember that. You know what I mean? But people remember you more if you do something wrong to them. So obviously, I haven't done anything wrong to a lot of people, at least mentally or physically. So I haven't done anything. So people, at the end of the day, I've had a lot of support because people do want to help people. It's just that a lot of times I always feel that you can't come to the table empty-handed. You gotta meet people halfway. What I mean by that is you gotta have something, unless you can just get lucky and someone like you and they can put you on, you gotta come to the table with something. You know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to do it right.
I got two important questions.
Okay.
What is that symbol on your hat, number one?
Okay. Well, first of all, I am in the fraternity. I'm Omega. I'm a bruh. Salute to all the bruhs that might want to watching this.
That ain't no Omega.
Yeah, no, I know that now, but I'm letting the people know that I'm a bruh. This is actually Mizuno. I'm a big golfer, and this is a Mizuno hat. See it right there? It's a golf hat.
Okay. Is it supposed to be like an antelope or a deer or something?
I don't know. It's just a symbol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
But I got about 5 minutes before I have to roll.
Okay. This is a real simple question.
Okay.
We talked around it, but I really didn't hear you articulate it per se.
Right.
I never heard you in this entire 55 minutes act like a victim when it comes to being black.
I don't believe in that. And I know we've had it tough, but you have to understand, for me, and I get, people go at me sometimes and say, oh man, what, they try to say, am I a Republican? I used to be a Democrat. I'm in terms of politics, I'm independent. But let me tell you why.
I'm independent too.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Myself.
Yeah. I'm a foster kid. And for 3 to 4 years of my life, I was raised by white people in foster care, in cottages. So when I got up to go to school in the morning, that's what I saw to make food for me and to make sure I got to school. Never abused, never treated wrong, never called anything outside of my name. And so my social worker in New York was a Latino woman, Mrs. Siegel. This is, as a kid, I remember this before. So from 10 months to 7, I had these type of people in my life. And I can't go on and hate someone, for that. Now, I do know how we've been treated. I know what we've gone through, but I can't blame everybody for that. And I look at us now as a culture, and I go, we have to start answering some of these questions that we're doing to ourselves, and people don't want to hear that. But all you gotta do is turn on Instagram or go to a fans only page or Facebook and see what we're doing to each other.
All I gotta do is look out my door and see a cat trying to post up on my corner with that okie doke.
Right. So they ain't white,
they ain't no other race, they black.
Right.
And they're damn terrorists.
Yeah. So I can't blame them, because even with my project, man, when I was low on cash, this dude from Florida sent me, I didn't even ask. I asked, yo, can you help me out? He sent me $13,000 over 3 checks. Didn't ask for a penny back. And he's a stone cold Republican. But he said, and I said to him, I said, look, man, I was letting him know what I was doing with the money. I said, look, this is what I'm doing with it. Right there. 1 second. I got somebody to do it. He was like, I was letting him know what I was doing. And he goes, I said, because I wanted to be honest about where the money was going. Well, thank you. And he goes, I don't know you that well because I met him for about in Vegas. He said, but I trust you. I believe that you're going to do right by the money. I just have that in my feelings. And the man get me.
Let's put his name out there. What's his name?
I can't do that because
okay. Well, wherever you're at, we thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And Dannon is about his business. He's representing the cause very well.
Right. Yeah. This guy's a very, he's okay. You know what I mean? So because of that, and people like that. And I'm on both sides, black, white. You're an individual to me. If I don't like you, trust me, you know, I don't mess with you. You know what I mean? And if I got an issue with you, I'm gonna go to you with the issue. You'll never see me on social media talking about my issue with someone else. I go directly to that person, and if we can't handle it, and we want to handle it, and then after that, I'm done with it. I don't believe in all of that other talk. All that talking, I don't do all that. I'm not an arguer. Because when I get ready to get busy, when these things go up, I mean business. And as simple as that. I do not play with it. So that's why I have a lot of respect out here in LA. And that's why people respect me, because I don't do that. I don't play games. And I'm very hospitality to people. I treat people nice. But so I don't get into it. You'll never see me on social media going back and forth. When I'm in it, I'm in it. You know.
Much respect, Dannon Green. The 22nd next Saturday is my goal.
Yes.
To be up here in Philadelphia. You gonna
please,
show me?
thank you. Tell your people about it. I'm gonna send you the link, and I just appreciate, man. D, I appreciate you so much, man. And we can definitely talk more later on. But you know, hey, this is what it's about.
Troy Rollins is on this network.
That's my guy.
I know. I saw your interview. Yes, Troy Rollins. That's our Baltimore homeboy.
Yes.
Good deal. Thank you very much. Thank you, Cynthia. Have a great day, everybody. Good morning.
Donnie, thank you. And thank you, Baltimore and the East Coast. Love you.
Yes, sir. Love you back, big brother.
My man.